Highways are jammed as folks are escaping the wrath of Hurricane Ian, a hurricane that is guaranteed to bring devastation in its path. The world's largest produce market in Paris burns to the ground, parts of it anyway. Is someone trying to target our food supplies? Sure kind of seems that way. Perhaps they're trying to monopolize the food chain. Well, the predicted potato shortage is coming into fruition. What is next in the way of our food in the coming food crisis? China has gone mad, killing 6 of their high-ranking officers by the CCP, and allegedly, Xi Jinping is missing. Is it true? Lebanon is in crisis while Iran is having a revolution. Who's next? Crime in Chicago is up 37%, while New Orleans takes back the title of being the world's murder capital of the world. Who is next? What is next? New York puts out a PSA on how to prepare for nuclear attack, while Denver is now handing out bug-out bags for emergencies. What's up with that? What's up with that? September was a rough ride, and we're still in it, but what does October hold for the future? All that, including October predictions and other news that'll include today, NASA and asteroids, Germany and toilet paper, war in Europe, new medical breakthroughs in cancer treatments, the coming collapse, and so much more today on this Tuesday, September 27th, 2022, episode number 34 of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Updates. Welcome, y'all. Thank you for hanging out with me today. So in a few more days, we step into October. In the Northern Hemisphere, it is simply Mother Nature's way of reminding us of how beautiful it is to let go of things. In the Southern Hemisphere, it is Mother Nature's reminder that after death comes rebirth and new life comes about. Like nature, my friends, everything in the world and in our world changes each and every day. And change is something that we are going to see a large amount of over the next few months, including in the month of October. October is a 7 universal month with a 1 vibration that drags along with it new beginnings and quite a bit of feeling a little bit all over the place, so to speak, trying to figure things out. And the world will certainly be trying to figure out a whole bunch of things come the month of October. Moving into that 7 vibration brings spirituality to the surface, along with many other truths that will be revealed. And wait till 2023, speaking of truth being revealed. The month of October is all about learning from past lessons, along with learning new lessons for future use that we can utilize. Together, we can only hope that these lessons will awaken more people to the truth of what's really happening on our planet and the true war that is happening between the dark and the light, a war in which light will eventually prevail. Always good to know, right? The 7 vibration has with it that I Spy investigative kind of vibe to it. And that means that we can expect to see all these new investigations taking place within governments and around governments and with the people and by the people. The October 7 vibration will ask us to take a little bit of solitude, a little time to ourselves to think and think things out clearly and to come up with new ideas and new innovations. That 7 vibrations, all about that, especially meditating more, being more connected to your divine being and your divine self. October is also a time when people do see truth, which adds to the awakening process. And soon, October will assist us in deepening people's awakening process, which will be quite lovely. When we are in the 7 vibration, we should not seek out new opportunities, but instead, you should wait for new opportunities to come to you. As me and my circle of friends and tribe say, call it in from universe, call it in from universe. The Mercury retrograde direct hangs in until it goes into the post-shadow on October 2nd. Although that Mercury retrograde vibration, I can talk today, will hang around until the 16th of October. So therefore, I would expect some big significant events to take place between now and October 2nd, and maybe even on October 1st and 2nd, including the 30th of September, which has been popping out in my mind for quite some time. The economy in the markets, are likely to see and experience the biggest drop so far in 2022 in the month of October, leading into November. I would not be surprised at all to see several economic collapses within the month of October into November for several countries. The 7 vibration emphasizes on emotions, like we didn't have enough emotion during the Mercury retrograde direct, right? So it does emphasize on emotions, faith, and yes, even your psychic intuition. Hence the reason that we will see large amounts of people finally awake on new levels in the month of October. The month of October will be a total reflection to the whole year 2023. Remember that. It always is, personally and universally on the planet. So what if we're in a 6-year universally on the planet, we go into a 7 next year. We're in a 6-month going into a 7-month in October. A total reflection. What we experience in October, that's why you want to make October the best you possibly can for yourself and hopefully for the entire world. But November, we're in for some significant events to occur as well. But October will be more of a stepping stone moving into November, where we will see much more significant events occur. With the energy of frustration and spiritual awakenings happening this month of October, I do feel that a crazy energy will accompany these energies. Therefore, sadly, October will seem like we are in the heart of a Mercury retrograde, when some people begin losing their emotions or their minds, which brings them to commit, unfortunate, horrific acts at times, while others will go out of their minds about events happening on our planet, which could be a positive thing and bring about huge protests and masses awaken like never before. So something to really look into, and that'll just again show what 2023 is going to look like. So it's going to be interesting, and we have to really watch the month of October closely. So the month of October is a month in which we need to stay on the down low a little bit, spend more time with ourselves, being in our own spiritual vibrations, with, of course, the willingness to let go of any of the remaining things that need to be let go of, especially now through the first week of October, which is, we got it for the next week, pretty much. Even though Mercury retrograde has entered the sign of Virgo, we are still in the time now of Libras celebrating their birthdays. So a big happy birthday to all you Libras out there as we enter into the time of Libra and hopefully bringing a little balance back to our planet. I welcome you all to my channel. I welcome you back to my channel. My name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT, and I welcome you with infinite love, gratitude, and appreciation for each and every one of you. If you're new to the channel, we would love to have you to be a part of our tribe, but you got to hit subscribe. Hit that bell followed by all to hopefully ensure that you get notifications when I go live. I am here every Tuesday, so approximately 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. A month after you all change your clocks, then you all will go back an hour. So it'll be 8 o'clock on the East Coast. Also give a like along the line. I love you, and when you click that like, the algorithms will love you and showing more of my stuff on your feed. Thank you, Wheezy. I like that. It reminds me of the Jeffersons. Wheezy. I bet you that's why you put that name, right? Wheezy. Love that show. Way back in the day. So down below, you'll find all the links to all my social media, including the Awaken Your Spirit community. And I love each and every one of you for the support and love that you give me all the time. I couldn't do it without you and spend all the time as I spend all day preparing this show for you. I got a lot to cover, and I'm starting this different because for those of you that are new, normally on Tuesday, I do the intro as I just did with the message, along with covering all the past stories that happened over the past week and how they may align with past predictions and prophecy, along with adding more input and predictions to that. And then Often at the end, we do new predictions, but I'm doing a reversal. We did do the intro, but I'm doing a reversal from this point forward. I'm giving you a whole bunch of predictions first before I move on to some of the stories and some of the information that's happening. It's just the way I did my notes today and channeled the information, and I don't want to switch around. I'm like, we'll do it this way today. And that way, those that are new can grab the predictions and hopefully hang out with us till the end. So here we go. Let me grab some tea for this moment. Sweet tangerine, positive energy, yogi tea. Someone sent me some chocolate tea, and I didn't realize I had. I forgot. I would have made some chocolate tea. I never had chocolate tea before. Have you had chocolate tea before? It's probably quite fabulous. I love chocolate. Chocolate, yes. It just made me crave chocolate. Let's start with some predictions. I spoke in the past of my visions of oil fields burning, which reminded me of Desert Storm War, if you remember me saying that. And if you remember Desert Storm and what Saddam Hussein did over there in the Middle East. So along with several significant oil disasters, sadly, I feel that this is approaching very soon. And this is one of the reasons to come in every week and tune in every week, because I get more information. And some predictions, again, take in the past, like my yearly New Year's Day predictions, some of them take 2 years to come into fruition. Sometimes 3, usually 2. Lately with the weekly show, they come through faster, and then we get reminders from Spirit. Spirit lets me know. Like, so I got reminders of this today from Spirit, my Spirit guides, the amazing team of spirits behind me. Do you see them? So, oil disasters. So sadly, I feel that this is approaching us very, very soon, and I saw a vision today of oil flowing from a river into the sea. Along with separately, I saw an oil tanker that sprung a leak and started to tilt over like it was getting ready to sink. The sad part about this, besides what it does to our poor planet, is that I feel like this is sabotage. And I feel like there's a lot of that that's going to go on. And, you know, I talked about in January the war on water, but there's a new war on oil taking place, a different war on oil. It's more of an oil war over desperation, of people being desperate, kind of like food wars, same thing. That's what's happening. That's where we're heading in the winter time. And when many countries realize how screwed they are, that they don't have oil because they just got cut off. Let me move on with predictions. We'll talk more about this later. Soon there will be a real war on oil in Europe. I forgot about this one. This was earlier today. I warn you now, as I warned you in the past, that those in Europe, including Germany and France, are going to be in for a very rough winter. I saw a vision of military action being taken by several countries over oil. I'm not sure what that military action was in my visions, but it's just what Spirit showed me and made me feel today. I also see, unfortunately, some type of bombings or attacks on one or several refineries, but also attacks on pipelines, which we did just have happen. And I'll talk about more of that as we get down to the story aspect. Let's move on to the prediction aspect. Speaking of pipelines, Spirit says that Putin has a plan for Europe, and that plan will affect millions of people, in which he will make suffer through a record-breaking cold weather. The other thing that I felt, I didn't put it in my notes, but I felt it when I was channeling that information from Spirit today. I felt that the cold that's coming is sent there because we know they have weather modification. They have patents on it. The U.S. government has patents on it. Russia has patents on it. China has patents on it. So we know that they do that. You know, they only tell you that they do cloud seeding, and they don't always tell you that either. So my feeling, and again, I didn't put it in the notes, that this record-breaking cold weather is kind of being sent there from the Arctic, almost like they're putting a big fan up, blowing it right towards Europe. And other places too. This will include Canada and the United States. It's going to be just all in general, the whole planet. Even though we're in that warming of our planet, it's going to not seem that way this winter. So next, I see NATO forces getting involved where they certainly should not be getting involved. And we have a lot of that going on with them right now. Remember, NATO is nothing more than a creation of the United Nations. It is part of the Dark Army, part of those that are really there to enslave and take over and so forth, as we know. But I saw them putting their nose where they shouldn't belong. And this will bring fury from Russia upon innocent people, sadly. But the fault will really lie upon NATO, according to what my spirit guide said. So we have to remember this, and hopefully it doesn't happen. I hope most of my predictions don't come true, but the good ones, of course, I do. But so we have to keep our eyes close on that, and know that the fault lies with NATO. And I'm sure I'll get more information on that potentially in the future. October will also be accompanied by several new amazing medical advancements, including a huge new breakthrough in the way of treating cancer. It felt very exciting. It felt like a very exciting announcement, but remember, medical pharmaceuticals control everything, and they don't want you to be healed, because we already know there's cures, and anytime someone comes out with a cure, they suppress it. But whatever this is, this announcement, again, it's positive, and the breakthrough might not necessarily just be in the medical advancement, maybe in other areas too, but something to look forward to and see these big breakthroughs coming through, especially even in 2023. I see United Nations vehicles, speaking of UN and NATO, being shipped on train cars and going down major highway corridors with, like, on the back of big trucks. And like, I saw all kinds. It looked like almost like a fleet of military fleet. United Nations, Spirit told me today, is planning something shady, said Spirit. Their plan involves NATO, of course, and the UN plans to soon take over land and people. I don't know what land or what people. First thing that pops in my mind is Africa. Not that it is Africa, but that's just the first thing that just popped in my mind now. This may not occur until 2023, and if so, January also pops in my mind. January is going to be intense, and that's why you're not going to want to miss my I think it's 15th or 16th annual New Year's Day predictions, because we step into 2023 in retrograde energy shift, like within weeks of the new year. It's going to be a wild year. I am preparing a 2023 preview prediction video that I plan to have out in the first week of October, so keep your eyes out for that. If you want to know about 2023, don't forget to be a part of the tribe and hit that subscribe. I've warned our friends in California in the past, but Spirit reminded me today to put the warning back out to California again. A great shaking is coming to the West Coast. The aftershocks will be more shocking than the initial quake. Beware of this, said Spirit. I see visions of people running into the streets. I saw fires, like kind of almost like a city view. It looked like LA to me, but I don't know what it all looks like out there. But it kind of looks city view. We'll just say city view. Not like city with skyscrapers, but populated suburban area. We'll look at more like that. Where I saw fires. And again, I saw a helicopter view, so to speak, is what Spirit showed me. I saw fires. I saw smoky skies. I'm not clear when this is. Likely soon. But it could also be around the holidays, because the holidays popped up in my mind. And again, like I said, January is going to be an intense month. And as you know, if you follow me long enough, I tell you all the time that come the energy shifts, there's major plate movements on the earth, as we just witnessed. And I told you it was going to happen. So it would make sense that could be more January, but the holidays also did pop up in my mind. Speaking of earthquakes and warnings, Spirit told me to warn the people of Australia, those down under, mate. Great floods and waves are coming to your land and shores. Keep an eye on your shores, said Spirit. The mass amounts of mammals washing ashore will be the final warning. And I feel like that just happened, but I have that in my notes somewhere for later. But let me just pull it up now, because I have the statistics here somewhere. 200 whales die on Australian beaches and 200 in Tasmania. So something's brewing out there in the ocean, along with under the ocean quakes, volcanic activity that I said was, remember the vision I had of it bursting out of the water, which hasn't happened yet. Hopefully it don't, but likely will. That's what's happening under there. So it's already happening. So Spirit saying this to me today, I would expect that this is coming, unless Spirit's talking about another incident will be the last warning. Hopefully there's not. I hate to see dolphins and whales be injured or harmed. Let's see. This warning also goes for New Zealand, where Spirit is showing me a vision of land and mudslides, land and or mudslides. Spirit says that late October will clearly show many how severe the winter will be. So again, remember, October is a reflection in the coming year. So I didn't think about that until I just looked at my notes here, and Spirit says that late October will clearly show many how severe the winter will be. So that will determine, especially wherever you live. Look at the weather where you live. If you have sudden cold that's not normal, then you know you're in for the cold winter. If you have an above normal warm month of October, then you know you're free. You're good to go. Should be good. But I still feel like cold is going to hit places that it wouldn't, like Florida, California. And I'll talk more on that as we get closer to winter. But Spirit also said, pay attention to sudden cold fronts and record-breaking cold for October. These will be places that endure severe winter weather moving into 2023. This includes snow, that bad four-letter word in late October, to places that would never expect to have snow in October. So something to look at. I just remember, it makes me think when I think I was a kid when it snowed on Halloween. Long time ago. In ancient times, sonny. Let's talk about Iran. Not that we really want to talk about Iran, but we got to talk about Iran, right? A revolution is occurring in Iran, which could bring in an alignment of my past predictions, if you remember, of a new Iranian leader who should be feared. He would be a bit younger for their leaders, but also filled with hatred towards all, like towards everybody. Somehow he's affiliated with the coming rise of the Antichrist. So that we know we're in those times. So when this new leadership takes place, many Iranians will perish, while new groups of darkness begin moving into Iran. Kind of like almost like the Taliban. And this makes me remember a prediction I made a long time ago about the four fallen angels along the Euphrates River, forming together an army. This is where it all stems from. Iran and this Iranian leader who's basically opening up the gates of Iran to let the bad people in. And we'll know because many people will perish, which I believe is happening right now. New groups of darkness begin moving into Iran. This will be very bad, not just for Iran, but really for the world, especially Israel. This has potential to bring some type of war or military, involvement in the Middle East some point in 2023. Grocery stores, food. I saw visions of grocery store mobs, looters. In some parts, they will be forced to close some stores and grocery stores, and other places are going to be forced to board up windows and hire a security company. Sadly, this is going to bring another large rise in food costs. So part of this is what Spirit showed me, that this is being planned. This is part of the Army of Darkness's plan. But the angel warriors of light are going to kick their what in the long run. That's why we got to be prepared. You got to be prepared, because when you're prepared and you're aware, being aware helps you to prepare. And when you're prepared, you don't have to worry about it. You're good to go. If you took the advice I've been telling you for years. Got itchy eyes. All right. So moving on. Moving right along. Spirit shows me an underground criminal ring that is planning. We're still on that food subject a bit, which I'm going to talk about more in my world news events and predictions. But I just had a total brain freeze. Yeah, so I saw an underground criminal ring that is planning a huge beef and meat heist. So not only are they like stealing artwork, an art heist, but now it's going to be a food heist. But it's a large beef and meat heist that's being planned currently by a criminal ring. So now I try to tune into that a little bit more now. The first thing that pops in my mind is, the cartel. So I don't know if this is happening down that way, So our Texas just popped in my mind, and that's where a lot of meat resides, and that's close to the cartel's access. So you folks in Texas, because I know I got lots of you here in Texas. Make sure that you tell your friends or farmers that do cattle, and especially if it's a big meat company, that they need to call in extra security. See, these are things like this I feel like can kind of be prevented. If we get the message out there and people heed the warning and protect themselves, then this doesn't have to happen. Because again, something like this is happening is going to ruin a business, and it's going to affect the food chain again, even more. And I see this actually, sadly, occurring in multiple places. Like I said, it becomes a criminal ring. It goes out stealing steaks, meat. And this is in multiple places, including United States and Canada. Eventually, it will spread overseas to the UK, France, and so forth. This would be something that would make mass media news because, they just love to put fear into you. That's their main goal. But again, if you're prepared and aware, you should have no fear. Fear not nothing, but fear itself. Truckers will need to be safe and prepared to defend themselves and their truckloads. Because I had a vision. This was interesting. I felt like I was watching a freaking Hollywood movie. I swear to goodness. I saw a vision of a group of motorcycles coming out of nowhere, like onto a highway, blocking or attempting to block several semi-trucks. There was two, potentially three semi-trucks. And my vision showed me in my vision, I saw one of the bikers pull out what looked to me like a shotgun, shooting at the tires of the big truck. And then I saw the truck flip over. So again, it was like a vision from a Hollywood movie. It was very, very interesting. My vision showed the one biker shooting out the tires. Again, the truck flips over. And then I saw these van trucks moving out of nowhere, like they were hiding on the side of the road somewhere, and start loading up these trucks. I'm guessing that it's probably food, but I don't know. Maybe it could be connected to the previous prediction. I didn't really think about that. The underground criminal ring planning to steal huge beef and meat heists. And then I talk about the truckers. That would make sense that they're probably connected to each other, actually. I didn't think about that when I was channeling this information from the spirits today. Anyway, moving right along. Anything else? Yeah. I also see food truck theft occurring. Like the food trucks you see in the cities, way back in the day when I worked for the Radio Shack Corporation, I used to get off the SEPTA bus in Philadelphia and go to the food truck and get a bacon cheese sandwich every day, or egg and cheese sandwich every day. Good food trucks. Some of the food trucks have really good food. But food truck theft. So if you have a food truck, my Uncle Harry used to do that food truck. He was good at that. You better be safe. You better prepare. Food truck theft. Moving right along. Something huge and some huge development right around the date October 31st, on or around the date October 31st. That date, along with the dates the 11th, the 13th, 22nd and 23rd, and the 29th. All those dates are significant dates in the month of October. Usually I put that at the end, but somehow it got channeled in the middle. Back to earthquakes, I saw a large earthquake hitting along the coast of Peru. Oh, excuse me. And Peru and Brazil will both endure huge quakes, and Spirit says Mother Earth has not even begun to hit Mexico. Mexico, like she soon will, Mother Earth, she soon will hit Mexico, is what Spirit said. Again, Spirit says Mother Earth has not even begun to hit Mexico, like she soon will. Also, a quake along the borders of Mexico and Texas, along with the southern tip of Arizona. Small quakes, didn't see major, but they were there in the visions today. The one in Peru looked pretty big, in Brazil. Spirit says Nevada, including Vegas, is in for a great cleansing, as the Spirit said today. So I'd be pretty sure that this would have to be from severe flooding that is going to hit Vegas once again, because that happened earlier this year and it was in my weather predictions, and then it happened, but I saw this again today. And I saw 2 or 3 smaller earthquakes also happening around the borders of Vegas. So, which could lead to a big one later, but we'll keep our eye on Vegas for now. November elections are coming, of course, in the United States, and October will be shocking in both the political arena and with candidates running. I see, I don't know how that word got in there, death threats on one of the candidates, or even 2, perhaps even 3. Significant, I saw death threats around a candidate that'll come out, and I saw 2, perhaps 3 significant candidates shockingly dropping out. So I'll have to see what that's all about. I don't really follow politics. I could care less, honestly, because someone at the top is really controlling everything. But something to keep an eye out for. And you all down in the comments below, you'll keep us updated. Speaking of political arenas, in the past, I talked about assassinations and resignations, if you remember, and many of them have occurred. But October will bring along a series of events that will include the sudden resignations of several big tech executives and CEOs. Not just, the CEOs could be of other companies, but first Spirit said big tech executives, and then separately CEOs of other companies as well. And again, attempt assassinations. October is going to be a high month for those vibrations to be going on. October will also be a month where people begin questioning everything and everyone as far as leaders are concerned. Therefore, this is going to be a really bad sign for Mr. Hunter. Little baby Biden. Baby Biden, I like that better. And those who belong to the Epstein gang. Yes. So again, Spirit says that therefore this is going to be very bad for HB, little baby Biden, and those who belong to the Epstein gang. Epstein, as I said this past few weeks ago, will be coming back into the news with shocking revelations that politicians will scramble to attempt to cover it all up again. Of course they will. But chances are they're not going to be able to, especially if it happens in October. Because remember, October is that 7 vibration. That 7 vibrations all about bringing out truth. It's all about people really thinking about things, really, really looking at things, really, really making their own decisions. So it's going to be interesting. So questioning everything. Airlines, I've talked about them many times, but I see 2 separate visions. The first one was of an airplane hijacking attempt. And I believe this was no doubtedly somewhere in the Middle East, perhaps Egypt, Middle East or Egypt, in those areas. The other vision is of a great amount of planes suddenly being grounded. This was really weird to me today. I saw planes on the runway getting ready for takeoff and then turning around and docking their planes back. I wasn't clear where or why this was happening, but it felt sudden to me. It felt sudden, like all of a sudden, no fly zones, like everywhere. So I would expect maybe an unexpected emergency of some sort to not allow planes in the air. And it's not weather related, Spirit said. Not weather related. So I'm not sure where this is, but planes are going to be grounded and turn around. Something's happening. I would think this is likely probably in Europe, maybe UK or but it could be anywhere, really. I don't know. Spirits did not tell me where. Not yet, anyway. There will be several huge UFO stories coming in the near future. I got something else about UFOs later. In the near future, one's going to involve Mexico, and the other, I believe, is the United States. Again, huge UFO stories coming in the near future. One involves Mexico and the other one the United States. And it looked to me like Mexico was trying to shoot down the UFO. Remember I said that maybe about a year ago, year and a half, which means that might be coming true soon too. About a UFO crash landing that they wouldn't be able to cover up. Too many people would see it. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Speaking of huge stories, I see some type, and I have deja vu, so I might have said something like this before, some type of biological attack taking place. I believe I had these visions in the past, but I also believe and feel this is probably connected to the war in Europe, and that the blame will be on the wrong countries, what Spirit told me. So don't look at where the blame is, because usually those who do the blaming are usually the guilty party. That's what the spirits say. They're right too, you know, it's true. A lot of accusations go out to people that are actually guilty. But anyway, stock up on medication, Spirit says. Because not only are we in for shortages of other sorts, including alcohol. Remember, I told you this a long time ago. Thank you, Mr. Skylight, for your chat cash. Thank you, love and gratitude. So, stocking up. So medication, Spirit says that there is a coming shortage of major medications. Like, for example, like, you know, I don't know medication, like diabetes medication or something. Not that it's that. So don't say that it's that. I don't know what it is. It's just Spirit saying stock up on medications if you can. Now, some people can't stock up. They can only get what they can. But just make sure that you don't let your scripts run out. You know, if you can get them filled earlier, you know, if it's, you know, life-saving medication that you have to have. This also brings me to the point of alcohol. Remember I said about alcohol, and there's an Illuminati card, because we talked about the Illuminati cards many times. I'd still like to get a whole deck of those cards that shows alcohol ban. Thank you, Kathy, for your chat cash. Woohoo! Yes. So alcohol, and someone just told me in the comments, I believe, that they saw on the news that there's going to be a big pinch on alcohol manufacturer companies in the near future because of supplies and supply shortages. So that would include like the bottles that they put their alcohol in. Some companies aren't going to be able to get the bottles. You're going to see. Spirit tells me this now. Spirit says that they're going to change bottles. You're going to notice a change in liquor bottles, alcohol bottles, because they're going to go with whatever they can get to put their alcohol in. Interesting. That's not my notes, but that's all the more reason to listen every week, because when I publish these on Subscribestar, not everything's in them. Let's see. So another suppression of speech is coming with big bands. And I'd say this is coming in October. So watch what you say, people. They're listening to everything and everyone, everywhere. Speaking of banning people, Alex Jones. I had a vision of having major health issues, a heart attack likely. And I saw a news story revolved around this and the potential for his actual death. His network will be, when he will pass away eventually. Something's going to happen in the future. I don't know how far away, but I was also shown by Spirit that his network would be taken over successfully by others. So this takes me on to the subject of the Nordic pipeline. Yeah, so my friends that are hanging out on Zoom waiting to chat afterwards. Darn, I love tea and honey. Was just telling me that now they're blaming the United States for sabotage the pipelines. This would make sense to my predictions, things I talked about today, but going back, months ago about predictions of pipeline being sabotaged and fires and that whole vision of Saddam Hussein, back in Desert Storm, which happened, this was probably definitely early this year. I might have even said it last year. But right, exactly. So who's responsible? Because I very likely I could say I don't know. Because Spirit didn't really give me an answer. I didn't tune into it because I only just heard about this right before we started, so I didn't really tap into it. But like someone said in the chat room, why would Russia sabotage their own investments? They wouldn't. And what they're doing is they think that they're affecting Russia, but really Russia is going to turn around and affect the whole of Europe come winter, as I said earlier in today's predictions. Not smart. And messing with those lines and blowing them up. And if you remember going back quite some time, I told you I saw underwater explosions. Yeah, with bubbles coming up. I did see that in a video clip today, bubbles coming up from the pipeline. I knew about the pipeline earlier today. I just didn't know that they were blaming the United States, which would likely be. But not necessarily. Again, there's somebody at the top that controls everything. It was likely whoever pulls the strings way up above, like the Rockefellers or Rothschild sickos, probably are the ones that had it happen, made it happen. And they're all connected. It's one big old web of darkness. And that web of darkness is being dismantled. And eventually, those of us in the light will be able to weave a web of light. I look forward to that. But yeah, so I just put that in my notes, Nordic Pipeline. I told you the war on oil is going to happen soon. And this is going to cause other wars. This would make sense to my Saudi Arabia predictions. If you remember, I said about Saudi Arabia and the fight for the prince, and the whole drama within the royal family in Saudi Arabia, just like the same struggles they have for the royal family in England. Same deal. Sorry, I got an itch. But anyway, Spirit shows me that the Dark Army is already making plans. Oh, I jumped down. Sorry, I jumped down. Let's talk about Lebanon. Because Lebanon is in total chaos right now. And Pakistan also. And Spirit said that will continue to spread to surrounding land. I saw several visions of large groups of immigrants fleeing these countries, but also I saw other countries, including a new area that is attacked by outside forces, likely by Russia, but not sure. It could be NATO forces, actually. It is NATO forces, said Spirits. Okay, so apparently there's going to be immigrants because there's going to be some kind of military action that's going to take place on new land. Somehow NATO's involved with this. Of course they are. And that's going to cause more immigrants to start fleeing, people to flee. Let's hold in the light that does not happen. I didn't see where this was occurring. I just came into the visions and the information about Lebanon and Pakistan spreading out. But these are not all of my predictions today. Let us move on to our top stories and how they may or may not be connected to prophecy and past predictions. Food crisis. So earlier, if you heard me in the beginning, I told you that Paris, their largest produce market in the world, burned. Smoke. If you saw any of the video of it, I don't know how much of it burned, but a lot of it, if not all of it. It seems like the attack on food's back again. It got kind of quiet for a little while. If you go back to my video I did a long time ago called Game of Hunger, I talked about all the places, all the turkeys and the chickens that were murdered, basically put down, the beef, the cattle, all these factories burning down. And then it seemed quiet during the summer. I didn't really hear anything much more about it. But now we're starting to hear about it again. Because not only that, we had this whole thing with the potato crisis. And I told you over a year ago, it might have been 2 years ago, about future potato crisis shortage. Well, that's coming into fruition right now as well. And some countries are down, their potato harvest is down 60%. 60%, that's a lot. A whole lot. But Spirit was showing me visions that the Dark Army, the evil ones, is already making plans on rushing mobs in grocery stores. So that happening is a plan. They're getting paid to do it in some way or some form, probably by Soros Incorporated. It is all part of their way of instilling fear plan, is what Spirit called their instill fear plan. Spirit says to remind you all not to worry, be prepared, and know that the divine creator will totally take care of you. And as long as you have that mindset, and as long as you're prepared, you have no fear, no fear. The universe will take care of you. And you know, you don't want to be a part of the coming food riots, because that's in my predictions too. Food riots. It's already happening in other countries, but that's going to spread. People are going to bombard grocery stores. I think part of this Spirit says is to, again, especially the smaller stores, to put out the small stores. They want a corporate takeover. They want you to only go to, like, say, Amazon and Walmart. That's it. That's the only place they want you to go. That's the only place they're going to make it so that you can go. But again, we can stop all of this from happening. We need to stand together in light and love and fight. Fight like warriors that we are. Because we all have an inner warrior, and we need to bring that inner warrior out, y'all. God, bring it out. Because also, speaking of out, another breakout of bird flu is coming. Spirit's kind of funny. Spirit's like alleged breakout. Alleged breakout. So we'll say alleged. Let's talk about Hurricane Ian. The storm is going to surprise and shock in many ways, says Spirit. Flooding unlike anything that you have seen since Hurricane Sandy, and Ian may actually end up being worse depending on where it hits, but also it's going to affect, Spirit said, more land and more water will be affected than what Sandy affected. So it's going to affect more states, more waters, more flooding. Flooding all over the East Coast, Spirit was showing me. I saw a great beach erosion. Remember the visions I had way back? I think it's in my weather video, one of my weather videos that I did this year. I think I did 2 or 3. But major beach erosion that reminded me of the visions in the past. I think it was my April video. But remember my vision also that I had of Cape Cod, Massachusetts underwater? And then I also had similar visions with New York City. Now remember, we're still in hurricane season, and Hurricane Sandy didn't hit the Jersey Shore until October 29th. But speaking of the 29th, this is what I say to you. Now, last I looked yesterday, I think it was, they said that it was going to, the storm was going to hit Florida on Thursday. And then the last time I looked, it looked like they moved it up to Wednesday night. Depends on what time. Wednesday night, 11 p.m., then you might as well just say Thursday. If that storm hits on Thursday, it's going to be worse than Hurricane Sandy. I bet you. Not just worse in the one area where it's hitting, but all along the whole southern tip of the United States of America. So hopefully it won't hit. Hopefully it's coming early, because like I said, last I checked, there's something I saw this morning said it was coming on Wednesday. But the day before I looked, it said Thursday. And I'm like, I hope that storm don't come in on Thursday, because that would be bad. That'll be really, really, really bad. And I got family right in the path of that storm, friends right in the path of that storm. And I hope they got smart and got the hell out of there. And I tell all of you who are anywhere near the coast, not just Florida where it's going to hit, but this includes the Carolinas and all the way up the coast, you need to be alert and aware and get the hell out of there. Don't be like people did in Hurricane Sandy and stuck around for it. Many of them died because of it. No. Too many people love you out there. Some people like you too. So you gotta be safe. You gotta listen to the warnings. That's why the highways in Florida are packed. Some people are actually listening to the warnings. Some people are actually listening. But hopefully this isn't the same visions that affect Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and New York. And then look at what Fiona did to Canada. Just really pounded it. So anyway, let's talk about Germany for a moment. Moving down the list of countries. Germany, as I stated in the past, Germany is in for some trying times. Are you aware that Germany's top toilet paper manufacturer claimed bankruptcy? So, it's kind of like you're up shit's creek, right? Without a paddle. I mean, I hate to make humor out of it, but you got to be humorous sometimes, right? So, friends in Germany, I don't know what's going on over there. Hopefully, you heeded my advice from 2 years ago and you stocked up on all that stuff and you're good to go. But I can imagine that toilet paper is going to go for $10 a roll in Germany eventually. $10 equivalent to American dollars. I don't know what the transfer of money funds is over there, but just as an example. Why is that? Why is a toilet paper company, the biggest manufacturer of toilet paper, claiming bankruptcy? Because they can't afford the energy costs, allegedly. Which, I mean, makes sense too. So imagine that's now, and they're really not in as much of an energy crisis as they're going to be in. Germany is going to suffer first, and it's going to spread out. Putin is going to shut down the oil for Europe. When the first wave of Arctic air hits, and also during a huge storm, a winter storm hits. So two separate places, two separate visions, basically. Spirit showed me big Arctic wind, big Arctic freeze happening, shutting everybody down. And then also I saw a big storm coming. It's like, I don't know if he's turning them off and turning them back on again and then turning them off again. But it could be two separate places. But he's turning them off, especially when a big, huge winter storm hits. This is likely, again, I keep getting the holidays into January. January is going to be tough. January is going to be very tough, and I'll tell you why. Again, it's the first energy shift in Mercury retrograde of the years in January. And it's also 7 years, so it's going to be really, really interesting. It's going to be interesting preparing my predictions for 2023, that's for sure. But I am preparing a preview for you all soon, so keep an eye out for that again. Spirit showed me martial law coming to Germany. Martial law in Germany and other places in Europe as well. Did you know the Islamic Republic is attempting to spin the Iran protests as armed Iranian Kurdish descendants? Don't amplify this narrative. The protesters are in every province of Iran right now. I put that in there, but I don't have no links. Darn. So let's move on to China then. Let's move on to China. Let's not, but we have to. And, you know, the biggest fear, people are all worried about Putin. Your biggest fear in this world should be China, without a doubt. Now, I don't know how true this is. I haven't looked into it today because I was channeling all this information today and getting everything down for you. But Xi Jinping is supposedly missing. Does anybody have any validation on that? Yes, Mariah Carey said. But I don't know if you're actually saying yes to me or saying yes to somebody else in the chat room. Yes, that's right. Mariah Carey's in my chat room. Europe, yeah, I don't know. But supposedly. But here's the thing. Also, 50% of all the Chinese flights have been grounded. China is very, very sneaky, without a doubt. And why are 50% of all their flights grounded right now? Along with the CCP just recently killing 6 high-ranking officers, putting them to death. And now nobody's seen Ping anywhere. I don't know if he's been seen since I learned this the other day. But even still, I don't think he went anywhere yet. But I also don't see him being in power all that long. I see all the power changing worldwide, globally. Most of it already has. Well, not most of it, but a lot of it has this year already. But a lot more to come before the year even ends. Like I said earlier, you're going to see major resignations, not just of CEOs and big tech executives, but of politicians. Like I said, around election, 2 candidates bailing out last minute, shockingly. So Xi Jinping, as far as my feeling is, he's still alive. They didn't kill him yet, but they might eventually. And if they were going to kill him, that would mean he'd have to have some good in him, that he's on the good guy side, which I don't know if I get that vibe as being true as well. Now, some conspiracy theorists think he is on the good, that he's working for the good people, the white hats or whatever. I don't know about that. I don't really think so. Let's talk about the United States. People all over the country are reporting lots of military movement happening in the United States. From you all that have been telling me this and sending me messages that you see all this military activity. One person sent me a message saying they live rurally and have all these jet fighters flying over them fast. Well, I mean, they are fast, but you know what I mean. Like they're scrummaging for something, you know, hurrying up for something. And then we have these scumbags that raid a convenience store in Philadelphia. Like, my kid did that, man. Oh, I don't have a kid, but if my kid did do, my kid wouldn't do that. But like I said, I think they were all kids. But this is what's happening while Texas and Arizona are still getting raided by immigrants crossing the borders illegally. Soon, political chaos and trickery and deception will hit, according to my spirit guides today. Now, I don't know what that all means, but we should soon see. Which takes me to the whole point of Denver handing out bug out bags in case of emergencies. Y'all know about the Denver airport, right? And the conspiracies that are revolved around that, which I don't believe are conspiracy theories. I believe they're more conspiracy realism. With the murals that are hanging there that look like the apocalyptic times in nuclear war. The people starving to death in those photos and those pictures. And the whole alleged underground something beneath that. Did you know the Denver airport, when they built that too, that there were several different companies that were builders that came in separately, including the one that did the underground. So interesting. And now Denver's handing out bug out bags. Are they going to hide them at the airport and save their lives? I doubt it, but you know. And then we had, you know, a couple months ago, we had New York City putting out that public service announcement on telling people how to prepare for nuclear war, nuclear fallout. Interesting, right? Really weird is what it is. Something's happening. Like I told you, they're blowing up their little witches stew. Anyway, we will be well. The light will prevail. Remember that. The borders, Spirit was showing me that military weapons, or more likely bombs, are soon going to come over the borders into the United States. That wasn't good. That's not good. Cartel's going to do something crazy, probably try to take over Texas or something. They ain't going to win, but I don't put nothing past the cartel. Weaseling their way in, because you know Hunter Biden probably hangs out with them. Probably does. He smokes their crack. I mean, he's definitely supporting them. But anyway, NASA. Did you hear about this one? My friend sent me this earlier. NASA darted and shot a asteroid. You know, NASA's DART. I'm sorry, NASA's DART. It's called DART. Shot at an asteroid. What the heck are they preparing for, friends? Why would NASA be shooting at an asteroid? What if that backfired and part of that asteroid flung into the United States? They probably wouldn't care. They probably wanted to do that. But why are they doing that? This reminds us of the movie Armageddon with Bruce Willis. When they jumped onto the asteroid, put a little bomb in there to blow it up, to get it not to come to the United States. Are they preparing for that? Because I know that on April 13th, Friday the 13th, in April 2029, the comet Apophis comes. And I will do a video on that eventually. There's a lot of research for that one, but that's part of the Hopi prophecy. That's when the poop's really going to hit the fan. But why are they putting out movies like that? They put out that movie with the meteors hitting not that long ago. With what's his name in it? I can't remember who it was. It was a good movie, actually. But I thought you might want to know, if you didn't know this, NASA's shooting darts at asteroids. Kind of weird. Did you also know that 60 kind of eerie UFO photos were declassified from the 60s and 70s? And this is where I wish I could show you. I used to be able to do that, but I can't because my internet isn't always my friend. But I did get new internet. It just arrived today. So hopefully I'll get that all hooked up, and next week I'll be crystal clear like never before. That is the plan. This is like the 5th internet I've had at this house so far. It's the only last option. And as much as I don't want to support Musk and his creepiness, it's the best choice I have to bring you the best information and the best downloads. And then I could start uploading all my stuff on Rumble and all those other places. But anyway, 60 eerie declassified UFO photos from the 60s and 70s. Really interesting. I wish I could show you the photos. What I can do real quick is put the link right there in the chat room. There you go. Check it out for yourselves. Interesting. Just really interesting photos. But again, this goes back to predictions earlier about things becoming more known, truth coming out, and this was unclassified, according to this article anyway. I thought it was really interesting. What else do we have to talk about? Do you know on October 25th, we have an eclipse as well? So remember that. Remember me telling you that. And the elite are running to the South Pacific. Did you know about that? You know, they all bought big old houses, especially in New Zealand. It's like one of their biggest things, New Zealand. The elite are running to the South Pacific. With this eclipse coming on October 25th, it brings in some intense energies. And again, I'll talk more about that next week when we're actually in the month of October. I wanted to do this because the last week of every month, I'd like to put out predictions for the coming month. So I've done that for the past couple months, so that's my plan. So, you know, the last Tuesday of every month, I put out predictions for the coming month. But of course, I'll have more stuff for you next week. I don't know if this is true. We confirmed some of it, but not completely, that all these musicians are canceling their concerts. I don't know, again, if it's all true, but what I will say is it's Mercury retrograde, and there's lots of things, miscommunications and things that happen during retrograde. So misscheduling, screwing up schedules, it's a common thing. I wouldn't think that it's because something's going to happen and they know about it, because that's what a real true conspiracy theory that believes the earth is flat is going to tell you. Anyway, nothing against your beliefs, Jeff. If that's what you believe, then kudos to you. But the earth is round. The president of Serbia has warned that the planet is entering into a great world conflict that could take place within the next 2 months. Again, the president of Serbia warned that our planet is entering into a great world conflict within the next couple months. I can't say the dude's name. Alexander, I guess that's the English version, of Vucic, made the alarming comments during the first day of the UN General Assembly session in New York. Of course that's where it was. Of course that's where they said it. The UN, United Nations devil worshippers. Sickos, right there at their home in New York City. You see a crisis in every part of the world, said Vucic, as he told the Siberian state broadcaster, RTS. I think realistic predictions ought to be even darker, he added. Interesting. There's an article on it, but we don't need to read that. I just want to read this last thing that somebody sent me. Joseph, 230 whales are stranded on an ocean beach near Strathern in Tasmania. About half are alive. 14 sperm whales washed ashore in King Island earlier in the week. I remember you distinctively said that your spirit guide said once this starts happening to watch the waters, as Tasmania would hit, if I am correct. This is a sign of things to come as whales. And I did say that in the past about the whales, and I touched about it a little bit today. But I did say that to keep an eye on the whales washing ashore would be a huge sign of what's to come. And also potential that I think it might be aligned with the tsunami that comes after. If we go back in my predictions, I get a lot of information and we got to piece it together sometimes. And it seems like we're piecing it together. We still have time. We're out of the energy shift, but there's still major plate movement and stuff that happens when we're in the retrograde cycle still. And we're in it till the 16th of October, but the direct ends on the 1st or 2nd, depending on where in the world you live. But then we have that eclipse energy coming in on the 25th. So that can also totally affect the plates and bring on earthquakes and so much more. But again, remember, October is going to be a reflection of our entire 2023. So we have to keep our eye on and know that, like, if something happens and, if there's more, we'll just use a silly example. If there's more airline cancellations in October than any other month, then all of 2023 is going to be a shit show for airlines. Excuse my phrasing, but it's the best phrase I could come up with. And last but least, you've got mail. I got this beautiful tea tree plant, TI, from one of my students, Stephen, and his gorgeous wife that I met up with today. They live in Sedona. Beautiful plant. Thank you, Stephen. And I forget your wife's name. Is that horrible? And they are Japanese. And his wife is so darn cute. When I met them, it was like she saw a rock star or something. It was kind of cute. It was really cute. I love my Japanese friends. So thank you, Stephen. I got this fabulous gift from Danielle B. This is so cool. Look at this box. It's got all these different herbs and stuff in them and magical crystal stones. And this one stone I really think is so cool. I'm going to show it to you. It is a bumblebee something bumblebee. What's it called? All right, dog. I'll let you out in a minute. Yeah, Bumblebee Quartz or something. Really neat looking. I thought it was really neat looking. But this comes with all kinds of cool herbs. There's some sweet grass in here. And there's some candles for ceremony. Some yerba. There's, what else is there? Lots of stuff in here. What is it? Knick. Good stuff. Danielle also sent a whole bag of stuff. That's the chocolate tea I was telling you all about. Chocolate tea. Who knew? I can't wait to try that. I was trying to look on there to see if it had caffeine or not. Because if it don't, then I'll have it. Because I just had caffeine before the show. If it don't, then I'll have some tonight. If not, I'll have some tomorrow. A beautiful letter. Everything was wrapped so nice with ribbons. And it was so beautiful and gorgeous. Of course, cute little dream catcher to go with on the package. Hey, isn't that little bee cute? Little tea strainer. Do. And this beautiful card. Look at how beautiful that card is. The wolves. Wolf magic. This is the card. Wolf magic. I'm not going to read it all to you because I know you all don't want me to read to you. And I got a couple other things here too. I got this really cool thing that I didn't finish opening because it came from Gwen. Thank you, Gwen. Love you lots, Gwen. So I can't wait. I'm showing you all at the same time. Gwen B. I knew that. First, there's a cool stone in there. I don't know which one it is because it doesn't say. It looks like an amethyst, though. I know that there's some kind of magical pyramid in here because I could feel the energy vibrating out. You know what? I always wanted to make one of those big, gigantic meditation ones that you put over your bed out of copper. But copper's too expensive right now. But this is an example of it because I can already tell this is a small one, which you can use for meditation, actually. I'm talking about the ones you sit in. That'd be the one I would make. But this one you can hang above your head and meditate with. Did you know that if you put a razor underneath here, your razors will never go dull? Thank you, Gwen B. This is pretty awesome copper pyramid that I will totally use for many things. Many things. And then two lovely cards that I have here as well. There was another package in my P.O. box, but I was not able to go. I went to go get it, and the line was too big. This beautiful happy birthday card. From Leona, which I believe is in Bucks County, where I once upon a time lived, but I do not anymore. And, oh no, this one's from Bucks County, sorry. This one's Bucks County from, oh my Lord, do I need glasses? From Doris B. Look at how cute this card is with the little otters on it. And the gift inside, and it says, happy birthday to someone who's not like all the otters. I thought that was so funny. I thought it was hysterical. I laughed, and happy birthday. Thank you, Dory. I love you lots, and thank you. You want to send mail or anything, my address, post office box is down below. And I will be back soon, not until after the first of the month, and I believe if I get it done in time, I will do my 2023 preview predictions video with, of course, predictions for 2023 that I will be putting out in an uploaded video. So you got to keep an eye. That's why you got to click the subscribe bell all so that you see my upload videos, because I noticed that some people, I don't get as many views on my upload videos, more on my live videos. And I think it's because y'all are missing them. Sign up down below to my newsletter, because if you do, then you'll see all the videos that I put in the newsletter so you don't miss any, along with any special offers. And I have great upcoming classes. My master class starts again in a couple weeks. A course in divination, which is lots of fun. So I hope to see and meet many of you in the new classes. The link down below at the newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to that as well. Until the next time, celebrate life, celebrate you, be kind to others as you wish others to be kind to you, because we all know mean people suck. Spiritman JT signing off. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Much love to all of you, beautiful people.